All right, there we go. Okay, hello. I'm excited to be here with you, and instead of trying to get up on that stage, what I want to do is I want to come down here with you. I want to be in this space with you because my keynote and my 2 alternate sessions that I'm going to be doing today are all about you. Who is it about? Okay, dramatic pause because you're going to need to make the turn a little bit quicker here. Who is it about? I'm saying it's all about you. So who is you? Me. So who is today really about? Me. Look at the person next to you and say, me. I want you to look at the person on the other side of you and say, me. Because I will tell you the one thing that I know, working with administrative professionals with support staff, is that very rarely do you use that word. Very rarely do we focus on who? Me. Because who are you focusing on? Everybody else. And so what I'm going to ask you to do is to take full advantage of the very brief time that you and I have together. That you and I, because who is this about? Me. That's right, right? Really taking advantage and indulging this conversation and focusing it on the most important person in the room. Who? Me. Because I know that as support staff, it's easy to sometimes exclude yourself from the conversation. It's sometimes easy to put your needs last. It's sometimes easy to put the needs of others in front of you to the detriment and to the depletion of who? Me. I even love that one was even more quiet. Me. Right? Like that one that was a depleted one. We're like, me. Because how many of you have been there? Where you've walked away from your job and you've lost a little bit of your energy just by a show of hands. Put your hands in the air. Put your hands in the air. Right? What I'd like you to do is I want you to just take a moment to take your hand and put it on your heart. Because sometimes what we don't do is we don't get in touch with ourselves enough to center that we have a very brief time to be in a really powerful conversation. And this conversation isn't about your boss. This conversation isn't about your employees, the people you work with. This conversation really is about the most important person you get to be in the room with today, and that's you. And so I'm going to invite you to indulge a little bit, because sometimes when we talk about the idea of leadership and we talk about the idea of team, what we do is we start thinking about it related to what's happening outside of us. But I'm going to ask you to take a moment to pull your attention as much as you possibly can and put the spotlight back on the most important person in the room, and that is you. So everybody sit up in their chairs for a moment. I want you to roll your shoulders back. And I'm really excited to present to you a program that's called From Group to Team. And to me, this is a powerful conversation about me. How am I generating and creating the experience of team in my life for who? Me. Because what's so fascinating is that many times we think team is about being created for other people. But what if team is totally about you? What if team is completely about supporting you to have a different type of experience in your life? Look at the person next to you and say, my life. My life. Go on, come on, I see some of you not talking. I want you to talk. I want you to look at the person next to you and I want you to say, my life. Because I will tell you an important part of this is you speaking up for yourself, you voicing it for yourself, you bringing it forth for yourself. And so as we're in this conversation today, we're going to be talking about a subject that we have been talking about our entire lives. How many of you have talked about team for a while in your life? Anybody by a show of hands? You've heard the word for a few years in your life, right? Give someone a high five next to you and say, yeah, me too, right? And so what I'm hoping is that over the next few hours that we have together, that we can think about this topic and how it relates to you in a very different and empowering way. So I am going to invite you to take some intentional deep breaths in today. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Because I'm asking you to get reconnected with that person that sometimes we lose in the circumstantial drift and the busyness of our lives, both personally and professionally. Because I got to tell you, very transparently, I operate from a space that I deserve to feel good. And I operate from a space that's the message that I want people to reattach to themselves, that you deserve to feel good, that your life is a privilege, and the space that you get to occupy while you're here is a privilege. And the more we can keep inviting ourselves individually to reconnect to that privilege, we can expand an energy for ourselves that helps our lives feel a little bit good. So we're having a little bit more fun. So how many of you want to have some fun today? Anybody? Okay? All right, I like it. So let's have some fun today. I'm going to tell you something a little bit about me. My name is Susan Leahy. I was raised by a mother who was a professional clown. Her name was Jan Jangles. And my father was a career Marine. Hoorah! There it is. He did 1 tour in Korea, 2 tours in Vietnam. So he's in for a very long time. And so that I just want to tell you right up front that makes me seriously funny. And I know I have really big shoes to fill. Come on, the jokes will keep getting better. I'm going to set the bar low and then go get it high. I currently reside in Playa del Carmen, Mexico with my 2 children and my husband. We moved there 4 years ago, and we've now made Mexico our home. And so it's exciting for me to come back to the States and really love my country. Like, I admire who we are, what we've created, and we've done that as a team. And so I really see this conversation applied to the individual can really empower the co-created relationship that all of you are in. So what I would like you to do, even though this session is about you, is about who? Me. I want you to take a moment, and I want you to just do that kind of gaze through the room, where you kind of look at actually who you're in the room with. And I want you to look around, and I want you to try to see as many human beings in this room right now as you possibly can. So go ahead and just look at the humanity sitting in the room with you. Because what's so fun is that when you really get connected to the commitment of yourself being a team, the real fun happens when you start connecting with others who are in that conversation. And so I will tell you transparently, what I am trying to do today is to give you a new conversation. Everybody say new conversation. A new conversation about an old topic. Okay, you can say old topic. That's right, because I do want to just see how many of you have ever attended a team building training in your career. Right, okay, right? So I want you to realize that we've been talking about this since we were in the sandbox. Share, don't hit each other, say nice words. And so what I'm hoping is that this will be an intriguing, interesting, new way of looking at a topic we've been talking about our entire lives. And my desire for you is that it will motivate you individually. And that you walk out of here and go, oh, okay, I have a little bit more energy about this topic. And you get a little bit more excited about this topic. And I want you to get excited about this topic not just here at Vanderbilt, but I want you to get excited in your relationships at home. I want you to think about how you can apply this in your relationships personally and professionally. Because to me, team is a conversation that encompasses my entire life. So I'm excited to share this with you. And I'm hoping that it'll help you think about this topic a little bit different. How many of you are ready to go? Anybody? Give someone a high five and say, yeah, me too! All right, so we're going to start here. So everybody take your hands and do this to your head. You're going to see I'm a very physical trainer because I want you to get in your bodies. So stop being afraid of touching yourself because it's required here. That's right. And some of you might actually like it. Okay. So right here, I want you to get right here. Okay, because this is where it all starts. This is where it all starts. And what I want to share with you is that who? Me. Okay, that you walk into a room and your this is either here or here. So I'm going to ask you to engage in this exercise for me so that you can experience this, your brain, your mindset, in a little bit of a different way. What I'd like you to do is I want you to make a fist, okay? And I want you to commit to this exercise. Make a fist. And I want you to make that fist as hard as you can make that fist. And I want you to hold that fist and commit to hold that fist until I ask you to let it go. Deal? Deal. So hold that fist, because right now that fist represents a certain mindset. Okay, that mindset that we're looking at is a fixed mindset. Everybody say fixed mindset.
Fixed mindset.
Okay, now if I walk into an environment, say a room like this, and I walk in and my mind is fixed. Okay, if my mind has latched on to, I know the reality of what's happening, I know it, I've got it, that I have a fixed mindset. What is that you're experiencing right now in your body? I want to know what you're experiencing physically so we can talk about it mentally. As you're sitting here fixed, okay, you're experiencing tightness, what else? Tension, pain, what else? Okay, effort, okay, so there's effort, there's tension, there's pain, okay, what is it? Fatigue. It is like, I love what you're saying because it's tiring. How many of you feel like you're just holding on so tight and it's getting tiring, right? So what I want us to realize is that this is not negative, it's normal. I'm not vilifying the fixed mindset. The fixed mindset is okay, but when we overuse it, which most of us do, it becomes tiring. It creates resistance. Now, hold on to that exercise. Everybody put your fist up. What I'd like you to do is I want you to put your fist in the front of the person sitting next to you. Okay? Here, there you go. You got it right here, right here. Okay? Oh. All right. All right, here we go, right? Okay, so taking an intentional deep breath in, what I'd like you to do is I want you to own what is it like to deal with somebody who comes at you with the fixed mindset. What is that like? I heard a lot of laughter, but the one thing I've learned is that there's a lot of pain under laughter. Okay? So when you're in front of someone and you're fixed and they're fixed, what does it create? What's this dynamic? It's hostility, it's stress. Okay, it creates tension. How many of you feel like you're in this dynamic throughout the day? Anybody? Anybody have this experience with, right? Okay, so what I want us to realize is that the fixed mindset can create a lot of resistance. It can create a lot of tension. So now what I want you to do is I want you to feel the other side of this. The other side of this is the conscious exercise of allowing yourself to take an intentional deep breath and just open up and extend your hand just a little bit. And I want a clicker that works. There we go. I was getting tense. If I was hard with it. So now I want us to ask, what is this like? It's better. It's what? Feels like relief. Okay? More relaxed. Okay? What is here that wasn't here before? There's space. So what can that space hold? Anything. Possibility can now come in. Now the other side of this, and I think a lot of times support staff go the other way, that support staff, your fixed mindset sometimes look like this. Everybody put your hand out, and I want you to over and hyperextend it. Go on. Hyperextend it, people. Come on, I'm not seeing hyperextensions here. I want you to work a little harder. Your minds are going all day long. I'm going to get your body to go all day long. Here we go. So what I want you to feel here is this is the fixed mindset for somebody who gives all of themselves away. They don't hold what it is that's important to them. They just give it all away. So what I want you to do is shake your hand out right now and say, thank God that exercise is over. Okay. Because this is an important place to start. And who is this an important place to start for? Me. And so what I want to invite you to do is you're thinking about this idea of team and group and what you're creating in your life and that I deserve to feel good. A real great starting point is to ask yourself, am I in the fixed mindset or am I in the growth mindset? Now, this is important because there's this bridge, because sometimes when you're in the fixed mindset, it's hard to see. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Right? There's that sense. So what I need to do is I need to create a bridge for myself. And that bridge is to insert curiosity. The bridge is curiosity. And so what I'd like you to do is I want you to put your finger in the air. Because this is not about not being fixed. It's about becoming curious and asking the question, where am I in my mindset right now? Am I fixed? Because when I'm in a fixed mindset, I'm listening for it to be right or wrong, or I like it, or I don't like it. I agree with it. I disagree with it. I love her shoes. I hate her shoes. Right? Right? There's a definitive right or wrong. And so what I need to be able to do in the moment is I need to be able to ask myself the question. And the question starts with a physical cue. So go ahead and put your finger now right here. And I want you to make this noise. I want you to go, Look at the person next to you and just go, And I really hope that this becomes a noise that you keep in your meetings, on your campus, in your communications. Because what does the invite? It invites different thoughts. It invites curiosity. It creates a little bit of space so that we can be a little bit more open with who? With ourselves first, and then ultimately with others. But so many times in my mindset, I don't know that I'm coming at it fixed. And so I'm walking in and I'm creating resistance for myself where I don't need to be creating resistance. Look at the person next to you and say, I don't need to be creating this resistance. Don't need to create this either. And so a really great way to invite yourself into a more open conversation, into feeling a greater sense of expansion, is the willingness to just hold, that curiosity. And so I will let you know that this entire presentation from this point forward is going to invite you to do that. Because I'm just going to be asking you a series of questions. I am not here to give you the right answer. Because guess what? The right answer doesn't exist. There is no answer. There is only creation and curiosity. And the fixed mindset robs us of the privilege of that experience. Everybody take a deep breath. So how many of you are somewhat intrigued about the questions? Anybody? And those of you who haven't put your hands in the air, you're just in the fixed mindset. No. No. And again, I'm not here vilifying the fixed mindset. This is not about making any part of you or me wrong. It's the invitation to just look at ourselves in a loving and generous way that could really create just more energy, more expansion, more fun, more good feeling in your life. Right? I don't know about you, but I've watched lots of motivational speakers and I walk out of the room feeling demotivated. Anybody have that experience? Right? Because you walk out feeling like there's something inherently wrong with you. You're like, oh God, I suck. Like, you know, and my intention as a speaker is dramatically different. I want this to be a generous conversation that inspires you to ask a few more questions. And so we're going to start asking some questions. And first of all, it's about who's in the room. And I'll tell you that this exercise was inspired by my parents who were married for 42 years before my mother passed away of cancer. My mom struggled for 8 years with CLL, chronic lymphatic leukemia. It turned into stage 4 lymphoma, and she passed away. And I'll tell you, my parents were probably the most dynamic team I ever had the privilege to observe. They dug the heck out of each other. And up until the day my mom died, they were just buddies. And it was an amazing thing to witness. And I really hold it as a gift. And this comes from my mom and dad. At about the 40th year, my parents were sitting in the front room. And my dad is telling a story. And my mother looks at my father and she kind of grabs herself by the heart and says, I've never heard that story before, Kenny. And she giggles. And my entire body turned into one big chill bump as I realized after 40 years, my dad is still sharing. And then I thought, oh my God, after 40 years, my mom is still listening. And so in an environment like this, where some of you have been here for 40 years, I think that was what I was told, that people have been in the room and in a part of this relationship on this campus 40 years, which is a privilege. The one thing that I think that gets in the way from our continuing to grow and continuing to hold the relationship as dynamic is that we stop sharing who we are and we stop listening. So this is an opportunity for us to get curious. So who's in the room? Who's in the room? And so what I'm going to ask you to do at your table groups is you're going to take a moment and you're going to share, something that might surprise you about me is, I was raised here, I traveled here, I have a degree in this. And what's fascinating about this is that the fixed mindset will immediately tell you, there's nothing interesting about you. How many of you had that experience? Anybody? Okay, I'm going to tell you, the fixed mindset will hold you in such tension. I don't have anything to share. There's nothing important about me. I live a boring life. And what happens in the growth mindset is the realization is that every single human being in this room is dynamic and interesting and has something to share. And if we close off to sharing that, then we're closing off to an opportunity to experience an expansion in our lives. A lot of us have closed off to how dynamic we are. And I really want you to hear that. I just watched this video that really showed how we all got here. And it was the little sperms and the little eggs and the little follicles. I'm like, we are all lottery tickets. Like, we are all magnificent and amazing. And when we forget that about ourselves, we somehow close off to the experience of humanity. And so what I'm asking you to do is to invite a little bit more of that into the room right here, right now, even if it's uncomfortable. So I want you to just take a moment and I want you to say, well, something that might surprise you about me is when I was young, I was an introvert, or I was an extrovert, or I did this, or I went here, or one of my favorite hobbies is. Okay, so again, it is going to surprise the table because it's something that they don't know about you. So it doesn't have to feel dynamic to you in order to surprise someone else. But the point of the exercise is that you keep sharing. So you're allowing yourself to share. So I want you to take 5 seconds. So everybody take an intentional deep breath in. Now, I am going to ask you to do this exercise one other way, because I already know that you're probably outside your comfort zone, but I'm here to press up against it a whole lot. Okay. I'm going to actually ask you to do this exercise standing up. Okay, so everybody in your table group stand up. If you have a group of 3, if you want to, would you mind pairing off with smaller tables just so that you can hear more people? So this table has a smaller group over here, sure. Maybe, yeah, and then maybe one here. And Greg, you want to go here? All right. Okay, so I want everyone to put their finger in the air, and I want you to go, I want you to take a deep breath, and I want you to get excited to meet people in the room in a little bit of a different way. So go ahead, and whoever would like to start, something that might surprise you about me is. Hey, so fun! I'm gonna get in the camera. I'm gonna take a picture. Oh yeah, I was gonna do a posed one, like for that. Yeah. That's good. Is it good? Okay, okay. Okay, perfect. Okay. Thank you. $9.50. Pulling your energy and your intention inward. All right. So pulling your energy and your attention inward. All right. Here we go. So pulling your energy and attention inward. Beautiful. How many of you learned something about somebody that surprised you? Wow. All right. So part of this conversation is to reignite a communication that may have been lost. And that happens when you're in long-term relationships, whether it's personal or professional. We lose the opportunity to kind of share things about ourselves, right? So I want to just hold this up here as, well, what if? What if? So everyone go, Okay, what if you really in your mindset hold on to the idea of, well, what if I am truly never done learning? And I feel like as I say that, I have to open my hand, right? right? So what if the activity is really recommitting to my own learning? That I'm really committed to learning about myself. About who? Me. Okay, and what's interesting is that as we move through our life, we can subtly stop learning about ourselves. We can subtly stop getting curious about, well, Susan Leahy, because I've been walking around in this meat suit for 43 years, so I kind of get it. Right? And so I stop learning about myself. And so what if I'm never done learning about myself and others? What if I'm never done being surprised? I want everyone to go, right? Okay, and I want you to hold that sometimes when we're in the fixed mindset, the last thing that the fixed mindset wants your body to do is, because what does that mean? You've just figured something out that you didn't know before. And that's death to the fixed mindset. That's scary and destabilizing to the fixed mindset. What if you're never done really getting to know others? So this sense of allowing yourself and others to continue to surprise you in your life, that you're not done, that they're not done, and that we can continue to be in this journey. Because how many of you have ever said, oh, you know, so-and-so, I know them, I've worked with them for years? How has that ever come out of your mouth, right? And I will just invite that the moment you believe you know somebody is when you stop knowing them. Because the greater commitment is the commitment to keep getting to know yourself and others. So everybody take an intentional deep breath in. So what if? We're going to ask a few more questions. So putting your fingers back here on your head, right? So what if you choose team to be your mindset? And this is just kind of yell this out, the answers that come up for you. If you choose team to be your mindset, that I want to generate more of the experiences of team in my life personally and professionally. If that's my mindset, I want to generate, I want to experience, I want to create. I think team is actually more fun. It'll help me feel better. It's going to be more energy. So if that's my mindset, how would your choices, actions, behaviors, and attitudes change? Okay, so you yourself have to choose to be more open. What else? Listen. Okay, I will listen differently if team is my mindset. What else? Share. I'm going to share if team is my mindset. What else? I'm going to cooperate, right? I'm going to be willing to cooperate with the components that are around me. What else? This side of the room is doing an excellent job. What is it? So there's a sense of I'm going to shift, I'm going to change, I'm going to try something new, right? What else? If team is your mindset, okay, you're going to listen. You're going to listen differently, listen more openly. What else? 2 or 3 more. Participate. Oh, I love that one. So on the count of 3, I want everyone to come up with their own word, and I want you to yell it into the room. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, that was a horrible job. Okay. I believe you can do better. So on the count of 3, let yourself share your word. Bring it into the space. So on the count of 3, what's your word? How would your actions, behaviors, attitudes change? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Doesn't that feel better? Right? So that's what we really want to welcome into the conversation that you're already having in your head, because the fascinating thing, everybody take a moment, touch your head. There's a conversation going on up there. There is a conversation going on up there. And so can we interrupt the conversation and start getting curious about the conversation and start asking that conversation questions, rather than believing that the conversation that you're having is the reality? right? So now it's about really just continuing to get curious. So I love this, right? So here, big question. Who generates team? I mean, this is a really fascinating question because, again, I told you we're talking about an old topic, team, in a leadership conference, right? But we're doing it in a new way. So this is an interesting question. Who really generates team in your life? Okay, so I mean, I want you to really hold this not as the right answer, but as a unique and different answer. Because for years we've been taught that there is no I in team, and I completely disagree. I completely 100% disagree. For me, I'm standing right here. I am in every room that I walk into. I am a part of every interaction that I'm in, and I'm a part of every argument that I create. I'm a part of every success that I experience. I'm a part of every goosebump that I have. That yes, there is inherently an I in team because I am standing right here. Look at the person next to you and say, I'm sitting right here. I'm sitting right here. Right? And somehow I believe that the conversation of team has become about judging the experience of what is happening around us, which disempowers the experience that I am generating. So what if in this moment you just add to your conversation, what if? What if the answer to that question is, I generate team? Look at the person next to you and say, I generate team. I generate team. You know, and some of you might be having the addendum to the conversation that says, yeah, but my boss. You know, yeah, but my husband. Yeah, but my children. Right? So I want you to just see how quickly the fixed mindset wants you to find data. Wants you to find data that will either make you cynical or find data that will disempower you. But what if you just hold this for a moment and you hold the full power of this and the whole privilege of this, that you generate team. I don't think there's a single person in the morning that wakes up and goes, oh God, I'm going to create more group in my life. Right? I don't think there's anybody that wants more group. But how many of you would like to have a little bit more team at work? Anybody? Put your hand in the air if you'd like more team. Put it up high if you'd really like more team. Hey, you know, shake it like this if you'd really, really like more team. Right? Right? How many of you would like a little more team at home? Anybody? Hey, yeah, So we're going to get you off the table, right? Right? And so what's interesting about this is it's something that we want, and what if it is really something that I generate? And so this is an interesting way to think about this because we have been patterned to give the power away, to believe that team is something that's dependent on how somebody else comes to us. Right? So what if I take that power back and I start really fully owning, I generate team. One more time, just hold it, I generate team. Feels good. And so we're going to give you some tools so that you can support yourself. Support who? Me. That I can support myself to generate more team in my life. And so we're going to talk a little bit about these two words. Everybody say group. Everybody say team. Because I like to keep things really simple. Like super, super, super simple. It's simple, but it's not necessarily easy. What if those are your only two options? Okay, so let's talk about group right now. So when I say group, what words come into your mind? Us. Huh? Just us, right? And I love the way you say it. Look. We're a group, right? Like, right. What's amazing is you don't have to do anything to achieve group. Y'all just walk in a room, sit at a table, and boom, we're there. Right? So group is just us, right? Like it's just us. It's just the collection of bodies. Okay? My undergraduate degree is in food marketing and agricultural business management. And so when I think of group, I think of herd. Okay? And so what is the herd doing? The herd is what? Okay, now where's the safest place in the herd? The middle. Why? Why? Protection. You're invisible in the herd, because to be invisible in the herd is life. Because if you're one of those suckers on the outside, you're going to get picked off. So if your mindset is you're in group, I want you to equate that to a herd, and you're using the others around you to keep you safe, right? And the herd or group wants you to stay invisible. And now, please hear me. Group is not negative, it's normal. Okay, it's not, we're going to spend the majority of our day in group. And that's not negative, it's normal. But what I want us to think about is how do I generate more team in those groups so that I can have a more fun life that feels good? Right? So let's just look at this real quickly. Group. So what do you think, feel, or experience when you're in group?
The more you say it,
yes.
Sorry, the more I think therapy, because you keep saying like group, and I think therapy. And
Group therapy, group therapy. And what's interesting is group therapy, I mean, as a concept, because it's the first time I've heard it said like this, is everybody working out their individual problem, right? And I do think that inherently, if you spend too much time in group, you feel like there's a lot of problems. Yeah, right. So what else? Group. Now I'm seeing it. Therapy. When I say group, safety. There's a certain level of safety. What else? You're just one like everybody else. So you're not necessarily special in the group, right?
Anonymous.
Okay, it's very anonymous, the group. What else? Okay, what is it?
Normality.
It's very normal. So again, I love this idea that group isn't negative, it's normal, right? But it can start becoming dysfunctional. So let me just invite this as a thought. Everybody go, What if there is no such thing as a dysfunctional team? What if there's no such thing as a dysfunctional team? There are only dysfunctional groups that are desiring to experience more team. That I just do not believe that team can inherently be dysfunctional, because all of the dysfunction we're experiencing is in group. It's that group behavior, because when we're actually in team and we're experiencing that energy, there is nothing more functioning than the experience of team. So everybody go, So again, just kind of inviting you to think about this conversation. So again, group isn't necessarily negative, it's totally normal, and we're going to talk about this idea, this concept. So I'm going to flip to the other side, and then we're going to take a quick break, which I'm not feeling like we need right now. Is there anybody that's needing a break right now?
Coffee break.
Okay, we do. Oh, coffee. We didn't have coffee. Thank you. So dramatic pause. I'm going to finish this because what I want you to do on the break is I really want you to be in this conversation about, the differences between group and team, because I'm really trying to simplify a complex topic by offering that there are only two options. You are either in group or you are in team. Look at the person next to you and say, I'm either in group or I'm in team. Okay, so I want to simplify that so that you can start asking yourself the question, am I being group or am I being team? So what do you think, feel, or experience when you are in team? Yeah, go ahead.
Can I feel like I'm in team even though I'm in a group? Like everyone else feels as a group, but I always feel like I'm with a team. Does that make sense?
Yes, because inherently team is not a destination. Team is an experience that you're generating. What I would ask and invite you to open up to is that it might be physically, what if? And I'm going to say what if? What if it's physically impossible to be in team 100% of your life? What if you give yourself permission to own that sometimes I am going to be in group? Group is not negative, it is normal. Okay, what if team is not a destination? What if team, everybody say, What if team is an experience? What if you can never become a team? Because we use that word all the time. Okay, we're a team, go team, we're a team, let's be a team. And we label it as if it's this thing that we can touch. But what if it's an experience that I have to generate and keep experiencing or creating? Would that change the dynamic? I don't know, would that change how you're interacting? And there's going to be times in your life when you're in the experience of team, but yeah, you have to enroll those people around you who still might be in group, right? But instead of it being I'm up here and you're down here, it now becomes an enrolling of like, isn't it more fun over here? Right? So it can be more of a generous invitation rather than a judgment. Everybody take a deep breath. Right? Does that, okay? So what I want to do in the break, while you're all getting coffee, and so am I, is I want you to think about these two words. But this is not playing nice. Because I want you to hold this as a new thought, because this right here is not what we've been taught. How does it change for you mentally if all of a sudden team is no longer an experience? Or excuse me, is no longer a destination? How does it shift for how you take personal ownership if it is an experience that you get to keep generating? So, team is an experience I get to keep generating in each interaction, in each conversation, in each telephone call. So, what I'd like you to do is I want you to sit up in your chairs, I want you to roll your shoulders back. I want you to take an intentional deep breath in, and I want you to, as you're moving through this, I want to invite you to think about the quality of your conversation with respects to the types of questions you're asking. So try to be the observer of yourself as you're going and you're getting your coffee. And what I want to invite you to do is I want you to ask yourself some questions. Not hold this as I like it or I don't like it. I want you to hold this in the question of, what am I thinking about this? What am I feeling about this? What is this triggering for me? Because that's the most important conversation in the room right now. Because this session's all about who? Me. Go get coffee. So we're gonna come back in 15 minutes, right? Yep. 15 minutes, and we'll give you a 5-minute warning. All right, so I want to pull you back into the room and invite you back into the discussion, because I'm sharing some things that might be contrary to the discussion that we've been having about this topic. So far we've been talking about the importance of being in the growth mindset, and the way to get there is what? Through curiosity, that willingness for you to really hold the space. So that you're opening up, allowing yourself to be a little bit more curious. We've talked about the importance of owning that you're never done, that you're not done. You're never done learning. You're never done being surprised. I want everyone to make that surprise noise. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Because you know that you're really living in a space that you're still allowing life to surprise you. Because how many of us, me included, get stuck in the circumstantial drift of our life? Right? And our life doesn't become surprising, it actually becomes really mundane. And so what happens is if we close ourselves off to being surprised, then all of a sudden what we're doing is we're closing ourselves off to being in that growth mindset. We've also talked about that there is an I in team. Who's in team? I said, the person next to me, I am. Right? And so we've also talked about the concept that I generate team, really holding in your mindset this sense of like, in my relationships, personally and professionally, I generate team. Now this is really interesting because this is contrary to a lot of what we hear. You know, this sense of like, oh, well, it's other people, and if they would do it different, then all of a sudden it would be better. But when I'm looking at anything outside of myself to make my life better, I'm giving my power what? Away. And so this is about how do I live empowered, and that I am empowered, and that I generate that for myself, and that I generate that because I'm looking at team not as a destination. I'm looking at team as an experience that gets to be created and then created again and then created again. I'm also inviting you to think about the fact that group isn't negative, it's normal. And so we're going to do an exercise right now that's going to physically show you the difference between group and team. All right, so you're going to see here, because this is it. What if there are only 2 options? Everybody say group. Group. Everybody say team. Team. Now group is not negative, it's normal. And group is really only about self-interest. Now self-interest, is that negative? No, it's totally normal. We want you to be interested in yourself. But if you are too self-interested, how does that impact your life negatively? Okay, I shut out others. What else? When I'm too self-interested, just too self-involved, huh?
Boring.
It gets boring, right? Because you're by yourself. You shut out others. It's uninteresting.
Arrogant.
Okay, it becomes very arrogant, right? It creates a separation. You know, it's not very fun to be around. So I'm not saying don't be self-interested or have self-interest. I'm saying if you're too much of that in your life, too much of the time, then it becomes dysfunctional. Okay, so group isn't inherently negative, it's normal, but team is shared interest. Now, when I say shared interest, does that mean I give all my interest away? No, what do? Everybody hold loosely, here it is. I'm still holding on to myself, but I'm making space for who? I'm making space for others. I'm making space so that something new can come into existence. So I love this because I like to make it simple. What if there are only two options that I can look at myself? Susan, I'm either being group. I am either being group or I'm either being team. Because everything that I say, everything that I do, everything that I think, everything that I feel is either keeping me in group or it's elevating me into the experience of team. So now if I can really own that, then I can start asking myself questions about what I do, what I think, what I say, what I feel, and what kind of experience I want to create. Now I'm going to show you something very technical here. All right? So I want you to put your hand out like this. Okay, because what I want you to do is I want you to get really in touch with this highly technical machine that you have at your disposal. It's called your thumb. And I want you to go like this. And then I want you to go like this. And make the sound effect because it's more funny. Ready? Okay. Now what I want you to know is that is really powerful because you're being the meter of the experience. If you walk out of an experience and the experience feels like this, can you generate something different? Do you want to generate something? How many of you walk out of rooms and meetings and conversations and your energy goes like this? Anybody know what I'm talking about? So I want you to become really aware of this meter. It's this simple. Because what I want more of in your life, in whose life? Mine. Yeah, in your life. I want more of this. How many of you want more of this in your life? Just by a show of hands. Give someone a high five and say, yeah, me too. And so now, instead of getting angry and defensive and mad and rationalizing while you're here, you now get excited and get curious and start thinking about ways to open up so you can generate more in your life. Like, it's really that simple. Am I in group or am I in team? Because there are only two options. And that team is no longer this destination. It's just an experience that I get to create. And I can be a little bit easier on myself when I'm not there. I'm not going to be team all the time. But what I can do is I can raise and generate more experiences of team. So if I can just create a little bit more of this, because I'm not asking you to be here all the time. No, that'd be crazy. That would be exhausting, right? And it wouldn't probably be real. So there's going to be moments where you can just be like, look, I'll be honest, my energy is really here right now, but my desire is to figure out a way to pick it back up. Just give me a few minutes. But I promise I'm coming. So now you can be responsible for your energy, right? And that's really what we want to do. So let's keep going, because I want to show you this physically, because I think it's genius. Okay? So what if, there are only two options. And so what I want you to do is I want you to put those options in buckets. Because what I want you to realize about this is that this is energy. And you, every single person in this room, is throwing their energy somewhere. You are throwing your energy if you're silent. You are throwing your energy if you're sad. You are throwing or loud. You are throwing your energy if you roll your eyes. You're throwing your energy if you're tapping your leg. Like, your energy is being thrown somewhere. Okay, and so what we want to do is we want to become more in touch with where am I throwing my energy? And there's only two directions. And what are those directions? Okay, up or down or? See how simple I keep it? Yeah, what I'm talking about. I'm either throwing my energy up or down, and down would be where? And team would be where? Okay, so what I want you to become really aware of is that you are, even if you don't mean to, even if you're completely unintentional about it, you're doing it. It's happening right now. Ready? Right? So you're throwing your energy somewhere. So the question is, well, which bucket am I filling? And this is what I need to ask myself. So I'm going to show you inherently the difference between group and team. So you're going to take a ping pong ball off your table. Because how many of you have ever had that experience of someone walk in the room, they don't say anything, but the room just changes temperature? Yes. Right? It's like, oh, right? And we all do that, and that's what we don't realize. We're all throwing our energy without saying or maybe feeling like we're doing anything. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about this ball related to who? That's right. I want you to take personal ownership, because what we tend to do is we look at other people's energy, and we really know where they're throwing their energy. Right? But whose energy do we not really take total responsibility for? Because whose body is the hardest body to see? Right? No matter how hard I try, right? Like looking at my body is actually really hard. So seeing myself is actually a discipline. So I want you to just real quickly realize this ball is about your energy. This isn't about anyone else's energy. And I want you to think about, and I want you to take ownership. Don't just put a shallow answer. Really just say this about you to call yourself out, because that's powerful. I am in group when I. And you don't have to write the whole sentence, because that would be like crazy. But I want you to know, I am in group when I, and then you're going to write it on the ball. And yeah, you're going to write on the ball. You're going to write on the ball. So this is it. I am in group when I am judgmental. I am in group when I am critical. I am in group when I stop talking. I am in group when I act confused. I am in group when there's a million different things that people are doing that keep them stuck in group. All of them. I like all of the ones, right? But what's most important is to realize there's lots of group behaviors, and I like that you're owning. I do all those things, but I want you to just take ownership. For I am in group when I. So I am in group when I don't listen to others, or when I shut people out, or when I am in fear or doubt, right? Okay, so very quickly what you're going to do is you're going to go around your table and you're going to say, I'm in group when I, and you're not going to say anything else, and you're going to do it quick, because I have another part of this exercise I want to get through, but I want you to voice it to your table. Ready? You have like 15 seconds. Ready? Go.
Are we supposed to write one or one?
You could write many if you like. It's good. If they fit. Okay. All right. So, here we go. What I want you to do, now this is a really important exercise, and this is important because this workshop is about who? Me. That's right. So I want every one of you to realize this isn't about everyone hearing you now. This is about you just taking ownership and standing up and going whoop and taking the jump shot. I am in group when I, and you throw your energy. So I want you to take ownership that you're doing it already. And again, that's not negative. It's really normal. But take ownership that there are places in your life in which you are throwing your energy, and it's creating and keeping you stuck in group. Okay, so let's just own that. So I'm going to run around, and it's okay if you kind of hit me, but be careful. Try to aim. Okay. Okay, and what I want you to do is I'm saying this to you, I want you to take advantage of this exercise. Pull your seats out for a moment. Pull your seats out for a moment, and I want you to just have some fun, but really yell it out. Yell it out. I'm in group when I, so it's going to get loud. Okay, so here we go. When I run by, you're going to throw your group in the bucket. Ready, go. I'm in group when I. Go, go, go. I'm in group when I. Come on, let me hear. I'm in group when I. 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 Let me hear it. I'm in group when I. I'm in group when I. Let me hear it. I'm in group when I. What? I'm in group when I. 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 Whoa, give yourselves a hand. Woo! All right. So let me just ask real quickly, what are we left with? Because how many of you actually made it? Okay, a few of you. Good on you, good on you. But where did all the other balls go? Okay, so what are you left with when you're throwing your energy and it doesn't get into the bucket? You're left with a mess.
A liability.
So what I want, you're left with a liability. It's true. You're left with a liability. You're left with a mess. And so what I want you to see is that this is what happens within organizations and why groups become dysfunctional. Groups inherently become dysfunctional because people are throwing their energy in the direction. And you know what? If you don't get it in, it ends up getting messy. Because group isn't negative, it's normal, and sometimes I'm just in the group bucket. But when I don't make that energy, it becomes messy. It becomes really dysfunctional. It becomes a liability, right? So I want to talk a little bit more about group because, again, group is not negative. It's what? Normal. You're going to see this slide, and I keep repeating this over and over again because what I do not want to do is I don't want anybody to feel bad when they discover they're in group. I want them to just take ownership of, am I being group right now or am I being team? Because if I ask the question and I get curious, then what I can do is I can invite a different experience. Oh, I'm just being group right now. Okay, so, how do I want to turn and generously walk myself in a different direction? And if you can be more generous with your groups. So you guys, are we being a group right now? Or are we being a team? You ask the question instead of make this, you know what, we're being group. Because the moment you put your hands on your hip and you tell someone who they're being, what are you being? You're being group. Because you're standing all up in your judgment. You guys just don't even know how to do it. You're nothing but a bunch of group people. Right? And what you don't realize is you yourself in your energy, because you're being critical, you are being group. And so team is the generous invitation to generate an experience. Everybody go, right? An experience that actually feels what? Good. Okay, so now let's look at this. So group is, everybody say default setting. Default setting. Okay, everybody say starting point. Starting point. Everybody say pattern. Pattern. That's all it is. That group is just the default setting. It's the starting point. It's your patterns. There's a lot of patterns that serve you, but there's a lot of patterns that you're in that don't serve you. So this is about recognizing the pattern, not vilifying the pattern, and then generating a practice, because team is a practice. Everybody say practice. Practice. That's right. So that's the difference. You want to know the difference between group and team? Group is a pattern, team is a practice. You know, that's all it is. Group is fixed mindset, team is growth mindset. You know, group is having all the answers. This is about creating new possibilities. So it's just this opening to this idea of, okay, well, where am I standing? So I love this because team sometimes comes up with, I have to be right, I have to convince, I have to maybe play it safe, I've got to be the loudest, I got to get my way, I got to drive my agenda. So looking at this happens. And also, I don't want to rock the boat, right? So I can also hide in group. So this is it. I'm going to keep saying it over and over and over and over and over again. Group is not negative, it's what? Normal. Right? Because it's where we all start our day. And then we get to generate the experience of team. So now if I'm in this group and I'm like, you know what, I want to have a little bit more of an experience of team. How can we create the experience of team? Then it becomes more of a generous invitation so that we can co-create it rather than we really suck because we're not a team. Because I think team has become the ultimate judgment. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. And we have to stop judging that we're not there, because that's not how we're going to get there. Everybody take a deep breath. We have to become an invitation to generate that experience with each other more often. So let's go a little bit further. Now let's look at what team looks like, because team will require something completely different of you. So you're going to grab a ping pong ball because it's just throwing energy, right? It's the same thing. You're throwing energy. So what I want you to hear the difference is, I am in group when I, as opposed to I generate team when I. So I want you to answer the question, I generate team when I ask questions, when I participate, when I am curious, when I choose to have fun. I generate team when I take risks and step outside my comfort zone. I generate team when I listen. I generate team when I ask questions. So I generate team when I. All right, you're going to have 15 seconds to quickly go around your table. And again, I generate team when I, boom, and everybody's going to share. Ready? And go. All right, so pulling your attention inward, what I'm going to invite all people at blue tables, please stand up and walk to this side of the room and form a line. So all people at blue tables, please stand up, and all people at green tables, give them a rousing round of applause. Keep going, keep going. You're going to make a line over here. So you make a line. Keep it going, green, keep it going, green, keep it going, green. Come on, green, you can give more than that. So you're going to form a line across the wall here. Come on, green, give them a little more love till I get it sorted. There we go. There we go. Yeah, take your balls. Yeah. Take your balls. It's between you and me. It's on the recording. Okay, so there it is. All right, so what I want you to now physically see is the difference between group and team. Because team will require something completely different of you. You know, you all had an energetic shift when I ran around the room and you were throwing your energy around, right? How many of you had fun? Yeah, that's why we do group. Because it does create a little energy in our life. Because we do want to have an energetic experience. You know, and so I will throw group sometimes. Gives me a little energy. But I'll tell you, there is a better energy that's more sustainable, that's more reliable, but it will require something completely different of you. And what's the difference right now? What's happened? Huh?
Organization.
Okay, there's order, there's organizations, but what did all of you as individuals have to do? You all encouraged, and you all had to what?
Participate.
Get up! like y'all are up! You all had to stand up and change where you were in order to assert this experience. Group makes it easy. It comes to you. You don't have to move from your seat. You don't even have to get up. You don't have to say anything. But you cannot generate the experience of team in your life personally and professionally if you don't allow yourself to get up and be intentional. And so I'm going to tell you, not a single person is going to miss this. Y'all are going to get it because that's what is required. So I generate team when I, and so I'm going to ask you to come over here, and you're going to say, I generate team when I.
I generate team when I help others.
Okay, so dramatic pause. There we go. There it is. Beautiful. Thank you. Now what we're going to do, and I appreciate, tell me your name. Scott, thank you. Scott, thank you for saying that, and I love that he's encouraging because who is this workshop about? Me. That's right. So even though he's not up here right now, he can still give his energy because where are you creating team? You're creating it in the experience, right? So that willingness to, hey, support, that's generating team. So it'll take too long to applaud for everybody, but everyone deserves the energy. So what I would like you to do is just a power clap, right? And if you want to do a woohoo, whatever you want, I'm not in charge of your mouth, okay? So, all right, so come on up here and we're going to move quickly through this, but say it loud, say it proud.
Generate team when I have fun.
Have fun, woo!
I generate team when I encourage others.
Woo! Okay, so I'm going to dramatic pause because this group will I'm going to make a little adjustments. Now this is the way group does it. Right? You go fast. So what I want you to do is I want you to feel what it feels like. I know you love that I'm doing this with you. I want you to face your body towards the group, and I want you to look at your group. I generate team when I. So you're taking ownership, and let's just see if that's different. That takes the energy up a notch. Because what's fascinating is even in how you're putting your ping pong ball in the bucket, you're generating something. I generate team when I. is fundamentally different. And that's not negative, it's actually normal. That's how most people want to do the exercise. We do the exercise in life via group. It takes conscious thought to be like, whoa, how can I make more out of this experience? Right? Because who's this experience all about? Yeah. Are you feeling a little more energy right now? Yeah. Like this? Right? And the group part of you, the part of you that says you're safer in the herd, you're safer if no one's looking at you, that group thing that you feel, the embarrassment, the insecurity, the fear, the self-judgment, that's group keeping you safe. That's group thinking it's protecting you. Group wants you to stay quiet. Group doesn't want you to look people in the eye. Group wants you to play it small. Group wants you to be safe. But team will require something different, right? So now what I'd like you to do, I want to take an intentional deep breath in. And they all did it with you. Did you love that? How beautiful! You are so supported by everybody. So go ahead.
I generate team when I support others.
Woo!
I generate team when I listen.
Oh, beautiful.
I generate team when I speak up.
Yes!
I generate team when I listen.
Boom!
I generate team when I ask open-ended questions and listen.
Ho!
I generate team when I share ideas.
Woo!
I generate team when I volunteer.
Yay! Yay!
I generate team when I offer suggestions.
Oh, beautiful, Mary.
I generate team when I am brave.
Whoa, brave!
I generate team when I listen.
Listen, beautiful. Come on, let's give a little more energy. Ah!
Generate team when I ask questions.
Yeah!
I generate team when I come up with ideas.
Hey, all right.
I generate team when I'm curious.
Generate team when I offer an opinion.
I love it. Woo! I love it. I love it.
I generate team when I'm patient.
Ah, beautiful.
I generate team when I participate.
Yay!
I generate team when I participate.
There you go. Thank you, Joyce.
I generate team when I listen.
Ah. Woo! Give everybody a round of applause. Okay, I will tell you, for me, and I want you to hold how simple this exercise is, but in my opinion, how powerfully it illustrates the difference between where you're throwing your energy. You know, and that you are throwing on a daily basis 100% of your energy, 100% of your time, and it's being thrown somewhere. You're throwing it. So the question is, am I throwing my energy in the direction of group, or am I intentionally generating and trying to generate the experience of team for who? Me. Me. Because you cannot generate team if your energy is... If you can barely stay awake in a room, you know what I mean? You're not going to create team. Your energy is really important to your life. And you know what's amazing? Who is the generator of your energy? I mean, that's the really wild part of this, right? Is I always ask people, who wants to live a more energetic life without having to change their diet or exercise anymore? Anybody? Hey! Then come on to the team regiment, because team will require you to step out. It will make your metabolism move faster. It will give you more energy. It will bring an energetic force into your life. Because let me ask you this question. What does this mean? What is this? Okay, how many of you feel a little energy in your body when you feel money? Right? Right? Now let me just ask you a quick question. Do you know what the currency of team is? The currency of team is energy. That's what's being exchanged in the experience of team is energy. You know, and so what I'd like you to do is I want you to break off a little energy for the person sitting next to you. Hey! Go ahead, give them a little energy. Go on, hey! Hey! There you go. Little energy, right? Right, hey! Right, like making it rain. So, woo! That's it. I mean, just feel the room, right? How many of you, your energy just went like this, right? And I'll tell you, walk around campus and give people some energy. It'll create a dynamic. Because the currency of team resides in the exchange of energy. And when you leave an exchange and the experience of team, where's your energy? Right? It's up. And so that's what we're wanting to generate more of. And this is not just the happy, happy, joy, joy, surface level energy that I'm talking about. It's that sense of you really feel connected to the work that you're doing. You know that you are the creator of what it is that you're creating, that you are doing this. Right? You're the generator. So I want to say this. I was talking to my Uber guy on the way over here, and he had this beautiful story about his grandparents. His grandfather just died 3 weeks ago. They were married for 70 years. Oh, so beautiful. So anyway, he was talking about, you just don't see that anymore and how beautiful that was. And I was talking to him about my theory of marriage. And that my theory of marriage is that I am not in love with my husband. And in fact, I think that sets a lot of people up for failure in marriage. Stop trying to be in love. Stop it. Because that's what kills love. Love is not a feeling. Love is a practice. That every day I practice love with my husband. I practice. So every day I leave, I look at him, I say, out of everybody on the planet, you're my favorite person. You're the best part of my children. There's no one else I'd rather hang out with than you. This sense of I want to practice saying nice things to my husband. I want to and that practice isn't about my husband. Who's that practice about? Love is not a feeling. Love is a practice. Love is the feeling that you get to experience once you are in the practice. Whoa. And that's the same with team. Team is a practice. And that experience is energy. And that's really what we want to create for you. So team is a choice. Everybody say choice. Everybody say aspiration. I love this word, practice. And it's a commitment. Now my favorite word, recommitment. Because we're going to fall out of our commitments. Because we're going to fall out of our commitment. And that's not negative. It's normal. We have to just figure out how we can recommit. Right? So we've got to really own that it's a daily choice. So team will require you. And read these out loud. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Stretch, be intentional, get up, take action, commit and recommit, step outside of your comfort zone, learn, grow, and not know, have fun.
Okay, now everybody read the last one so it sounds like fun. Ready? Go! Have fun! Woo! And what's amazing is that you can create that right here, right now. Right? Like all of this is happening in this room with you right here, right now, because where is your life happening? Right now. Right here, right now. Right here, right now. It's happening right here, right now. I'm not talking about this stuff so you can apply it later. I'm really, honestly, I would love to be able to go, boom, boom, and give you that much energy right here, right now. Right. Like right here, right now. Because that's all you got is right here, right now. And I'd love that energy. I would love for you to allow yourself to just even open up to it right here, right now, just because you choose it. So on the count of 3, everybody do that. Chuck, what's your name?
Ryan.
Ryan. I want you to do what Ryan just did. I want you to let yourself just get shocked with some energy. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh. Whoa. There's a few of you going, what is going on in this room? What are we doing? You know what we're doing? We're doing life. We're doing life because for me, team is a life-giving discussion. Team is the most life-giving discussion I can be in. Because I've taken my life and I moved away from my family and the people that I love the most to come and be here in this room with the people who I'm going to love the most today. Because my life's important and your life is important. And I want that energy. I want you to feel that energy. And I want to just ask by a show of hands, how many of you feel a little bit of an energetic shift in your being today? Anybody? How many of you want to feel a little bit more? Because what's so fun is you're never done and you're never there. Right? So we're going to have a little bit more fun. So I love this exercise because it really shows you that group is easy. Team will require something more of you. And you only have how many choices? 2. Doesn't that make life a little bit easier? Right? So let's keep going here. Because, are we going? Okay, dramatic pause. Everybody take a deep breath. That's so bizarre. The whole thing's gone. There we go. That's so, okay. Okay. There's a lot of things. I love these words up here: get curious, contribute. Everybody say celebrate. Celebrate. This is a really big one, right? That we don't think about the importance of celebrating, asking questions, listening, being generous, including. We're supporting, that I'm always throwing my energy somewhere. Now, what I want to do is real quickly is I want to do an exercise that really is about owning that what happens when we are in group is that we actually take on these dysfunctional roles. How many of you have ever had the experience of going back to, say, your family, and all of a sudden you get shoved in this box? Because in my family, I'm the stupid little sister. Like, I'm just the youngest of 4 siblings, and I'm just the stupid little sister, and I'm the only one that went to college. I'm the only one to have her master's, yet I go back there, and I'm the stupid little sister. There is this, like, roles that we play in some key relationships that we're in that don't necessarily feel good and are really dysfunctional, right? Now, I want us to just own that when I am in group, one of the defaults is that I take on a role. So the way to really disempower the role is to name it. Okay, so I want us to look at some of the roles that are up here. We've got Negative Nellie, smartest boy in the room, bad attitude Billy, Little Miss Sunshine, and it's not real, right? It doesn't feel good. Mr. Nice Guy, the rebel without a cause. You could be an old fart without being old. Okay, the whiner. Now I want you to look at this real quickly because we had some others that were put up there, because what happens in this is that these aren't the only roles. And so in workshops, we've just kind of been adding to the list. Angry Alice, Miguel the manipulator, disappointed Denise, Daryl the deflector, right? So there's all these different roles that come up. Bossy Boots Bob, non-emotional Eddie, just the facts Jerry, right? So yeah, there's Perfect Paul, yep. Being perfect all the time. So what I'd like you to do is I want you to, on your name tent here, I want you to put your name, so take ownership for who you are, but at the very bottom, I want you to write down, sometimes I play the role of blank. Okay, and again, this is about who? Yes?
What if when you're around your family, you actually are all of those people?
Yeah. This is it. And you know what? We are more than one role. That's what's so crazy, right? And you can make up your role. Okay? So this is the role that you play, like say you're at work and you want to hide. I can play confused Carrie. Have you ever, I'm confused about everything, so I'm not really willing to find solutions, so I just play the confusion card. So again, there's all kinds of different roles, and I want you to put that at the bottom. Here, I'm going to give you another one so that you can, okay?
Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Might be dense.
Yeah,
So are we supposed to be, yeah.
So, okay, so dramatic pause, real quickly. Pull your energy inward, just so I can clarify. You're just writing your name at the top, and then at the very bottom it says, sometimes I play the role of. Okay, the other lines we'll do later. Okay, so I want you to just kind of own that, you know what, I'm Susan Leahy, but sometimes I play the role of rule-following Roberta. You know, and the rules then become what keep me separate from creating the experience of team. Okay, we all play roles. There isn't anybody in the room who doesn't play a role.
Does it have to be one up there?
No. You can absolutely make it up because these are not all the roles. All right. What I'd like to do, and real quickly, because there's an exercise after this, is I want you to just quickly, you're not going to describe it, you're just going to own it. My name is, and sometimes I play the role of. And I want you to own the whole thing. Please say your name and say, sometimes I play the role of. Okay, because it's important in what we're talking about. Okay, so you're going to quickly go around. We're not going to talk about what that means. We're not going to dissect it. We may laugh a little, but we are going to just move through that exercise. My name is, and I sometimes play the role of. Okay, ready? And go. What is it?
Indifferent Iggy.
Indifferent Iggy. We like that. Okay. That's a good one. I'm like, indifferent Iggy. All right. All right. So, any unique ones that you'd like to share? My name is, and I play the role of.
Indifferent Iggy.
He said indifferent Iggy. Isn't that good? What else? Anybody come up? What is it? Stir the pot, Susie. Aha! That's right. And that is because you have a few of those in your family. Right? That's right. Sometimes, right? Right? And so what I do want you to realize is that this actually is an important exercise because when you name the role, it becomes very disorienting for the role because the role wants you to believe that you are the role, right? And so that's the fixed mindset, right? That some of and I'm going to say this lovingly, some of your poor patterns, some of your bad patterns, some of those patterns that don't serve you, we're fixed in those patterns. And a lot of those patterns are rooted in this idea of I'm playing a role. And that role has become transparent to me. So that's why we're giving the name and we're shouting it out. Because I want everyone in this room to get a little bit easier with one another and realize that we all play roles. You know, sometimes I play the role of Angry Alice. And what has really liberated me is when I can look at myself and say, okay, Angry Alice, that's not who I want to be right now. You know, and I can now take the role off so that I can walk more authentically into the curious conversation because the fascinating thing about your roles is the roles have dialogue, right? And the dialogue creates drama. I like that. Mary's like, right? So I want you to look at the person next to you and say, drama. So, my invitation is that the next time you are in a situation where you're experiencing drama, you take an intentional deep breath in and you say, this feels like drama. And then you go, I wonder if we could all take a moment to just let go of whatever role we're playing, so that we can all be more in the room together. Okay, so what we're doing is we're now giving people permission to put the role down, okay, and then step into a new possibility. Now, what I did not say is, you know what, you are being stir the pot, Susie, you need to put that role away. Do you hear the difference? Because the only way to enroll people to team is through curiosity, a generous invitation. You can't critique or judge someone into team because you're not being team, you're being group. Team is actually a very generous and loving invitation. It feels good to be team. It feels good to generate that experience. So one of the things I'm asking you to do is to just make the invitation to call out drama when you feel it, because calling it out allows everybody to take an energetic deep breath to kind of connect back into the energy that's being created, because we're always throwing our energy somewhere. And then you can start asking the question. So wait a minute, are we being group right now or are we being team? Can we put down maybe some of the roles that we brought into the room so that we can kind of be in a more authentic conversation? And again, it's all through questions. Comments, questions, thoughts about what I'm saying right now. Does it sound like it's simple? Right? Simple but isn't easy, right? Simple but isn't easy. We now have a context and a way of talking about roles, because how many of you have seen roles play out but you had no way of talking about them? You know, and so now what you're doing is you have a way of at least expressing it so that you can move in a different direction. Everybody take an intentional deep breath in. All right, so let's look a little bit about drama, because drama...
I have a question.
Yes, please, Scott.
The person in your group that refuses to come to team.
Yeah. Well, and I love this question because this is the sticking point of the whole dialogue, right? Is what you do is you get committed to generating that experience more. Because what happens is we fall out of our commitment with the experience because that person becomes a roadblock. Well, do you get what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of the energy in which we approach it. And when we do that energy, who are we giving our power to? So the question is, who generates team? Who generates team? Yeah, and so that's the sense of like, of course people are going to not necessarily be where you are in that moment, but can you still be the generous invitation, even in the face of someone who might not be where you are? Because the only way to even maybe get them there is for you to keep being the generous invitation. You know, and also not vilifying where they are. It's like that sense of like, okay, let's keep in the conversation. So I love this dialogue, and I threw my clicker somewhere, and I don't, I don't know where it went. But I wanted you to see it, because I think that's what we do, is that we get fed up with the other person. And so how do you keep your power and just say, well, they're just in group right now. And I'm going to figure out how to continue to be the generous invitation moment to moment so we can maybe have a different experience. Right. Comments or thoughts about that? Does that?
Can you ask them to go join a different group?
And you know, so can I, and I love what Scott's saying. I love the reason that 9 times out of 10 my business partner and I get pulled into organizations is because they've got what we call the designated patient. It's that one sick person in the organization that if they left, everything would be better. Okay, and so this happens within organizations where there's that one person, you know, or there's this one kind of little group of people. And I call that the designated patient, and we think about it, they're the sickness. But what I want you to do is I want you to realize that the moment we start looking at people as they're the problem, then all of a sudden we're in the fixed mindset. So it's that sense of like, okay, you know what? I need to figure out how to shift and throw my energy in a different direction so that I can maintain the energy of team. Because you know what? I deserve to feel good. And I want my energy to, right? And that's the work. And that's the fun work. Because what happens when you come onto the other side of that and you break through and you have that experience with that person? And you're like, wow, I never knew it was going to be this fun to work with you. You know, because that's the joy of it all. But I do feel like we give up too quick. And then we hide ourselves, and then that's where we hurt, right? Other comments, questions, or thoughts? I love that. What else? What are you thinking? What are you feeling?
So is that person on their own to get to the team part, or are you supposed to be leading them along?
And this is the thing, is that I can keep being the generous invitation of what I want to create more of in my environment. So if I want there to be more joy, and I want there to be more energy, and I want there to be more fun, and I want there to be more openness, then I have to be more energy, and I have to be more fun, and I have to be more openness. Right? And then you invite that person in. You know, and you say, you know, if this is uncomfortable for me, this is probably uncomfortable for you. So how can we figure out a way so that you can feel good and I can feel good? Right? And so it's not just about trying to get that person to get there. You can speak to team directly. You know what? I'd love to generate a little bit more of the experience of team, but right now I feel like you and I are stuck in group. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to figure out a way that you can feel good and I can feel good. So now I'm arguing for the other person, because most of us aren't arguing for the other person. We're arguing for why that other person sucks so hard. Right? Right? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, we're arguing for, well, you know what? If you didn't suck as much as you sucked, and if you didn't suck the energy out of the room like you sucked the energy out of the room, you know, and that person's just like, right? So this is what's interesting. How do you argue towards someone's success? How do you argue towards enrolling someone into the experience of team? Most people aren't going to trust you right off the get-go because we haven't had good patterns. You know, we don't necessarily trust it. Like, so, yeah. Other comments or thoughts as we're moving forward? I love the questions because this is where we're like, well, how do I do this? All right. Right. And I will also say, look where we naturally turn in this discussion. We turn into thinking about who? Both questions have been about who? But what happens when they suck? What happens when they're a bonehead? Right? We're real, and this is what I think is the subtle shift, is like, we only have 3 hours. And what I'm inviting you to do is think about, like, well, how do I just generate it more for myself? How do I generate more of it in my interactions and get curious for you? Because if you do more of it for you and you're more in the experience of team, then it can't help but enroll others to join you, right? So these are great questions, but I also want you to see where we tend to go when we talk about team, right? What other comments or questions?
Well, you might be
yes.
team here, and once you go home, you have to switch the group.
Okay, wait, so wait, I love what you just said, because I would love to press up against that a little bit. What did she just say? She said team. Did I hear you right? You said team is exhausting. Okay, what I would invite you to think about is to shift the way you've been relating to team, because when I hear team is exhausting, what I hear is you're giving all yourself away. What I'm hearing is that you're not asking, well, what do I want? What do I need? When you're exhausted, it's because somehow in the conversation you're not taking care of yourself. You should never be exhausted, but most of the time we are. And the only reason we're exhausted is because we're not asking for what we want and what we need. Right? So exhaustion and team can't go together. Group and exhaustion, because you're giving yourself away. Right? So this is an interesting one to play with. How do you take care of yourself more? Because if you're taking care of your needs and generating that energy for you, then you have more to be with others too. So team is not exhausting. I would say group is exhausting. Whoa. Okay, so talk more about your experience, because I'm not saying I have the right answer. I'm just saying, maybe we need to rethink the way we're thinking about team.
Well, I guess giving that energy to the people that need it to keep going.
Because I would say what you're still thinking team is you're thinking team is with others. I'm saying the most important person you need to team with in your life is who? And so if I am really my most supportive teammate, then I'm going to take care of what? Me. But I will say, everyone in this room, we all could take care of ourselves a little more, right? We're never done there. And again, that's not a scold. It's just an indicator. Okay, so this for me is where the conversation goes, like I get so excited, because how many of you have ever been in a dysfunctional relationship? Right. Right, like, woo! Let's start talking about it now. Okay, so now what I want you to really hold, this for me is where my brain goes, whoa, is that dysfunction is no longer negative, it's what? It's normal. Because what if dysfunctional behaviors like drama are just an indicator? Everybody say indicator. Indicator. Okay, they indicate. They're telling you that something more wants to emerge. So when you're in a group and then all of a sudden there's drama, what that really is an indicator of is that there's something more that wants to emerge in that group. The group is trying to generate an experience, but they're not getting to the experience that feels generous. So now the dysfunction is an indicator that something else wants to emerge. Everybody go, oh, whoa. Right? So when there's drama, it's not a problem to be solved. It's an indicator that this group is wanting more. And that's not negative. That's actually saying they're wanting to generate more of the experience of team. Okay, but unfortunately, before we get to team, sometimes what we create is drama. Right? Because we're so busy trying to create energy in our life, trying to create the experience in our life, but we do it in ways that might create drama. So let's go a little bit further. This drama is characterized by behaviors such as gossip, taking sides, finding scapegoats, procrastinating, blaming, getting defensive. Drama gets played out in the roles that we take on in group. Now, we take on these roles because we're just trying to survive. We're just trying to get through it. Now, what happens in drama is that we create micro-groups. Everybody say micro-groups. Micro-groups. Now, without me telling you what a micro-group is, what is a micro-group? A small group, a clique, Now, are microgroups inherently positive? No. Are microgroups inherently generous? No? But aren't microgroups a little bit of fun? Come on. Right? So, now this, okay, let me say it again.
As long as you're a member of
As long as you're a member of the microgroup, but if you don't do it right, you could be out tomorrow. So microgroups are conditional. Microgroups, now this is interesting. Why do we form microgroups? Why do we form cliques?
security.
Okay, there's a sense of security. It's further embedding you into group. But what if us creating microgroups is our attempt at trying to create more energy? It's a fictitious team. Because doesn't a microgroup for just a few moments feel a little bit good? Right? Doesn't it just give you a little bit of a burst of energy? Right? And we're so depleted and so tired sometimes, we'll take anything to just get us through the day. Right? So a microgroup is just kind of this fictitious team. Everybody take a deep breath. And I will tell you that microgroups are inherently normal. Look at the person next to you and say, they're normal. They're totally normal. Okay, and so what we need to do is we need to start asking the question. Everybody go, We need to start pointing out, whoa, this feels like what? Okay, this feels like drama. And then we go, And we ask ourselves, is this a microgroup? So the next time, because this was what I find in organizations, is that sometimes you find yourself in a microgroup and you don't know how to get out. And it's like all of a sudden you're just sitting around the table and everybody starts talking crap about somebody. And you know it doesn't feel good, but you're in this group all of a sudden. So you're in the microgroup by default. And so the reason I'm offering this to you is that it now creates a common language where you can all go, whoa, wait a minute, this is feeling a little bit like a microgroup. This isn't feeling good. You know, and so now you can kind of at least call it out in a generous way and ask, wait, is this a microgroup? This is feeling a little bit like a microgroup. Is there a direct conversation that maybe needs to be had with that person? So that you have now a context to talk about a very natural phenomenon that occurs in organizations. So look at the person next to you and say, is this a microgroup? That's right. Is this a microgroup? Okay. Because microgroups give the illusion of team. So microgroups give the illusion of team, and this happens when we have the finance department, because departments can naturally become, right? So I want you to see like where it comes up, right? A department can naturally fall into a microgroup. Right? Because who do we naturally get to be able to talk about? Finance. Finance. They're all talking about you. No. But so I just want you to see by the design of the organization, departments themselves can become microgroups if the culture within that department is to talk negatively about or to confess the sins of the other departments.
I have to say on
Yeah.
behalf of our department of two, he would never belong in a microgroup. I try to bring him into mine all the time. He wants nothing to do with it.
I love that. That's right. Did you hear? She says, I try to bring him into mine all the time. I love it. She's fun to work with, huh? I love it. We'll talk about it later in our microgroups. So this is important because I need to bring this up because microgroups are fictitious teams and they're embedded all over organizations. And so if we can start calling out drama and we can start really asking the question, is this a microgroup? Then all of a sudden what that does is it invites a different type of conversation that didn't exist before. Right? So that you can really kind of own where you're standing in any given conversation. Any other comments or questions about this idea? Any other comments or questions?
What happens when you call it out? My feeling is that if I call, say, okay, this is feeling, that what our attitude needs to be, to listen then, or to get defensive, or...
So again, what we're doing is we're giving voice to the thing that we're in anyway, right? And so you can then speak into the experience that you want more of. It's like, I'll just be honest, this is energy's feeling like this. It's not feeling like this. This feels a little bit like a microgroup to me right now. I wonder if we could move the conversation in a direction so it feels like we're focusing a little bit more on solution rather than blame. So you're now being the creator of the conversation, and you're not being the dictator of why they're doing their conversation wrong. So this is the inherent difference, is that when you think about, am I being group or am I being team, and when you really give yourself permission to stand in curiosity, you can start maneuvering conversations generously around you in any direction you want. You know, this isn't feeling good, and if it's not feeling good for me, it's probably not feeling good for you. I wonder if there's a way that maybe we can focus the discussion in a direction so that it really feels solution-oriented. What do you think we can do about this? Where do you think we could go with this? You know, and so what happens a lot of times is that we get very fixed in our listening of conversations. I don't like what he's saying. I don't like the way he's saying it. I don't agree with what he's saying. You know, and it becomes this fixed way of listening rather than this curiosity of moving the energy of the conversation so we can start moving it towards this direction. We're not always there, because sometimes we're going to be here. And to me, this is fun. To me, this is life-giving. To me, this is generous. And who is it life-giving for? Me! And this is not manipulation. This is collaboration. This is generous. This is love. This is taking personal ownership. This is fun. This is playful, right? What else? Other comments or thoughts as we're moving forward? Everybody take an intentional deep breath in. Okay, so we're going to do an exercise. Yes, that's perfect. That's perfect. We're at the right spot in the right place. And again, this entire session is about who? Me. So I'm going to invite you to indulge me for a moment in exercise, which I think is really powerful with respects to rooting you into the stream of your life. Every single person is in the process of the stream of their life. You're in it right now. You're in the current of your life. You're moving in your life right now. Now, what I want you to imagine is I want you to imagine that you're standing in a boat. Okay, so just take a moment and imagine that boat. It could be a big boat, a small boat. It could be a colorful boat. It's any boat. It could be a sailboat. It could be whatever boat you want. But I want you to know that you're completely alone on your boat. Because whose boat is it? It's your boat. So get excited about your boat. It's not a lonely boat. It's just your boat. Right? So this is your boat. There's nobody else on your boat because there's nobody else in your stream. There's nobody else in your life. You are at the center of the current of your life. No one else can stand there with you. And that's exciting when you think about your life, your boat, your current. And so what I want you to do is I want you to think about that there's two sides of where you could be standing on that boat. Now, instead of kind of giving you all the answers, what we're going to do is we're going to do this exercise. So I'm going to invite everyone to stand up and move to what we call the back of your boat. So everyone's going to stand on this side of the wall. So everybody's going to crowd over here. And here we go. And I'll tell you, if you stood up saying, oh boy, that's group. That's group. That's group. That's. Oh boy, make me move. Okay, come on over here. Just kind of scooch in. Okay. Here we go. We're going to the back of your boat. Okay. So, pulling your attention inward, what I would like you to do is I would like you to find a partner that is not at your table. So someone you have not been sitting with, and please raise your hand if you need a partner. If you do not have a partner, raise your hand. If you do not have a partner,
not to touch anything.
okay, so everybody needs to have a partner. You cannot have groups of 3. So if you need a partner, raise your hand. Okay, whoa, look at all this. Wow. So, you're all the same. Okay, so move out and raise your hand. If you need a partner, raise your hand and move to the front of the room and find someone else with their hand up. So if you need a partner, raise your hand. You cannot be in groups of 3. Does everyone have a partner? If you don't have a partner, I'll be your partner. So does everyone have a partner, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, we're all yeses. All right. Now, let me just ask a quick question. Is the back of your boat bad? No. What would happen to your boat if you didn't have the back of your boat? It would sink. So you need your whole boat. So what we're going to share, and I'm going to just speak this real quickly into the microphone so you can hear it. So what we're going to demonstrate right now is that we live a lot of our life in the back of our boat, in back of the boat thinking. And that's not negative. It's actually really normal. And we create a lot of connections in the back of our boat. But when we spend too much time in the back of our boat, which most of us, all of us do, it creates a life of limitation. And so we're going to show that in this exercise. So what you're going to do with your partner is you're going to create a connection. And this is a great connection, but you're going to create an even greater connection when you walk to the front of your boat. So you're going to get with your partner, and you're going to each have 35 seconds. It's going to go by quick. And you're going to tell your entire life story. I was born April 23rd, 1975, in Mission Viejo, California, to Jan and Ken Leahy. And you're going to just tell the story. I have 4 brothers and sisters. I'm the youngest of 4. Okay? Yay! Right? And so you're going to just tell the story of your life. Okay? And then you're going to switch, and then we're going to move to the next exercise. So just right now, get with your partner, and I'm going to give you 45 seconds. So go ahead. I'm going to give you 45. 35 is a little. So, all right. So ready and go. All right, you're going to stop. You're going to switch. You're going to switch partners. Ready? Well, you guys get to keep going, right? Ready? And partner B, go. Just keep going. All right. I want you to give your partner a high five. Go ahead and give your partner a high five. Now, I want to just see real quickly from a show of hands, how many of you enjoyed listening to your partner? Okay. How many of you learned something about someone you didn't know? Yeah. So again, I want you to just root and anchor that the back of your boat is exactly what you just did. It's about reliving what you've already lived. And it is how we create initial connection. But if we stay here too much in our life, if we stay in just recycling what happened to us, then we miss out on an opportunity to live in a different space and to experience a different type of expansion and a different type of connection. And so what I'm going to invite you to do silently, if you can just help me out with the exercise because there's a lot of people in the room, I'm going to invite you to just consciously ask yourself to move to the front of your boat. And I want to invite you to walk with your partner, even though you're doing this individually, to the front of your boat, so don't lose track of your partner. And you're going to walk to the front of your boat, and we're going to do the next half of this exercise. All right? So inviting yourself to walk to the front of your boat, taking your partner with you. There we go. Not losing your partner. Did I do it right? Did I do it right? Oh, good, okay.
You're fine.
All right. Okay. We're making the walk to the front of your boat. Is that yes. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. You can stand in the middle. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. You can have space. All right. So what I want to invite you to do, and you guys are so good. Everyone's on the bow of the boat. You're all doing amazing. If you want to just kind of move out a little, you're more than welcome to do that, to give yourself a little bit more space. But understanding you're standing in the front of your boat, what I would like you to do with your partner now is I want you to have a different type of discussion. And this discussion is fully about what you want in your future. Now, this is going to be interesting because this isn't going to be, this is what I want. You're going to talk about your future as if you've already created it. So you're going to talk about your retirement or your vacation or the trip that you've taken or this wedding that you had that you haven't had, right? You haven't had any of what you're about to talk about. Okay, you're gonna talk about the house that you live in. You're gonna talk about the car you drive. You're gonna talk about the places that you've been and that you're going, and then the vacation that you took and the love that you have. And you're gonna talk about it as if it's already happened. So this is the story of your life, of what's yet to come. Okay, so you're gonna be talking about your dreams and your aspirations as if you've already lived them in the front of your boat. Okay, and I want the person listening to be like, did they do this? Is this? Like, that's the point. But if the person who's speaking goes to the back of their boat and says, well, I want to do this because my mom and dad, they split up when I was young, you just go like this. And you point them forward. So if someone goes to the back of their boat while they're talking, you point them forward. Okay, because you can tell when they go back there. So this is completely about what you want to create, what you're excited about in your future, what's happening for you now. And it's total creation, and you haven't lived it yet. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to take 3 deep breaths. Because I find that this conversation's a little more confronting because we haven't been there yet. So give yourself permission to really have fun and be in your future. Ready? Partner A?
Do we get 45 seconds?
You get 45 seconds. Ready? And go. So I wonder if you can troubleshoot. I don't know if it's just me. I'm hearing a beep, beep.
Me too.
Are you? Okay, it's not just me. I'm wondering, I just thought maybe it was back here. Okay. Okay. Okay, so it's just not. Okay, good. It's not the beeping in my head. All right. Taking a deep breath in. Give your partner a high five. Okay. All right, and now you're going to move on to partner B. Ready, and go. Oh, I could have been your partner. Is your partner? Did your partner disappear? Oh, I'm sorry. All right, give your partner a high five. Give your partner a high five. So let's talk a little bit about the difference in the experience between being in the back of your boat and being in the front of your boat. Are these conversations about your life?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right? This conversation's all about you. It's about your life. But is it a different experience standing in the back as opposed to standing in the front? Okay, what's the difference? Reality. And now this isn't a reality as you remember it, right? But is it really reality? No, it's just your perception of your reality. But what about up here? What is this? Hope. How many of you felt hope in the front of your boat? Okay. Is this energy different than the energy in the back of the boat? Okay. Which energy did you enjoy more? Okay. Okay. Now let me ask a question. Which one was easier? Okay. So let me just really have you hear this. Which one was easier? Which one felt better? Okay, so where do you want to live? Okay, is it going to be easier, or will it require something more of you? Okay, it's going to require more of you. So I want you to hear this, because I have spent years in this boat, because nobody, how do I say it? Nobody gets to just be the front of their boat, but everybody gets to be the back of their boat. You know, group lives where? In the back of the boat. Team lives where? In the front of your boat. And it will require the conscious thought of, wait a minute, where am I standing? Am I in the back of my boat right now, just recycling what happened to me, living in a pattern, being in fixed mindset, telling the story again? You know, or wait a minute, or am I really standing in the possibility of what I want to think, what I want to feel, what I want to create, what kind of life I want to have, where I want to live, what I want to do? You know, and I'll tell you, so my husband and I, 4 years ago, we moved to Mexico. We had 2 small children, and it was fascinating because we wanted to move out of Los Angeles, but we weren't moving because of a job. And that was really interesting for us, because then it was like, well, where do you go, right? And so every Wednesday, the first Wednesday of the month, so it's the first Wednesday of every month, my husband and I go and we have breakfast. And we do 2 things. We answer 2 questions. What do you want, and what are you grateful for? And that's all we talk about. For one breakfast, one time a month, that's it. And out of that really was the front of the boat conversation that led us to moving to Mexico. Well, I want my children to speak Spanish. I want to live in an exotic place. I want to live where it's really beautiful. I want to live by the ocean. I want to live where the ocean's really I want to live where the ocean's really pretty. I want to live near an airport. I want to live near a big airport. What do I want? What do I want? And what's fascinating is that I learned through this exercise that I don't give myself the space to just ask what I want, because what inevitably comes after what do you want is somebody looking at you going, well, how's that going to happen? And the how is where? Is back of the boat. Because people are looking at past situations. I call it balloon popping. You're trying to launch balloons, but they're throwing darts at you. You know? And so this is a really sacred place. And it's one that is not patterned in our life. This is a practice. Look at you. Look at the person next to you and say, the front of the boat is a practice. Say, the back of the boat is a pattern. What else was your experience from this exercise? Imagination. What else? Huh? Dreaming, imagination. What else?
I realized how hard it was to think forward.
Yeah.
Like not to stay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It feels sort of weird. It almost sounds like you're just making stuff up.
Yeah. Right, because we are so physical, right? And we're so in this here and now experience, and we've lived it already. It should feel weird. If it feels weird, you're doing it right, because most of us don't give ourselves enough permission to feel weird. And where is the weird? The weird is outside your comfort zone. The weird is in the risk. The weird is in the unknown. And this is the space that we need to hold for ourselves and others. You know, and that living in the front of your boat is being committed to being in a conversation for possibility rather than a conversation for no possibility. And I love this definition. If you could prove a possibility, it would be an example. So possibility means you're living outside of what? Example. Right? That's really what it is. And I love that subtle beeping in the background. Does anybody else? Okay. So I'm going to just finish this up here. So while we're standing at it, I just want you to kind of see what's on the slide, because I think it's important to. So this is a big one. Back of the boat. Everybody say recycling. I want you to just ask yourself the question, why am I recycling that story again? Why am I sharing that again? And am I saying that's negative? No. I'm saying just get yourself curious about why you're sharing the story again and ask, is this the story I want to share? Or can I hold space to get curious, to ask about something that's not related to the back of the boat? Can I do that? Talk about what happened, its patterns. This is where we also get into lots of blame. Well, my mom did this, my dad did this, my brothers did this, my boss did this, because all the stories are in blames and making up excuses, right? This is where we're seeking the right answer. I live in the back of the boat because I know that's where it is, and this is who I am and where I came from, so this is the way it's going to go. Right? The right answer. This is storytelling, gossip. It's needing proof, looking for example. Everybody say win-lose. Because the back of your boat is your version of right. It's your right. Your back of the boat is your right. You're right. And so if you're in the back of the boat, you can't be in discussion because you're in an energetic arm wrestling match. So everybody say creating. This is where we're really giving ourselves permission to create more in our conversations, generating what you want. This is a daily practice. It's about growth and expansion. Everybody say possibility and vision. Possibility and vision. Put your finger in the air, go, I love it. It's curiosity. This is about the quality of your relationship. This is about creating a new story, and it's looking for what hasn't been done. And everybody say win-win. Win-win. Okay, so I want you to give your partner a high five and say thank you for being in the front of the boat with me. Oh, beautiful. We'll move back to our seats. You can go back to your seats now. All right, we're going to move back to our seats. We're going to keep in the boat analogy for a little while longer. All right, moving back to our seats. Beautiful. Now what I'd like you to do is, as you're moving back to your seats, I want you to mentally work to stay in the front of your boat. Because I find that the back of the boat is really insidious. You know, we're in telling the story, we're in the defending, we're in the blaming, we're in the pointing the fingers, we're in the group. That the back of the boat is the default setting. Right, so before I move forward on this slide, this is a really powerful model for me, so I just want to invite any voices into the room that would like to share what your experience was, what your thoughts are, or what you're just thinking about this exercise. Comments, questions, thoughts, perspectives that you'd like to bring into the space. Yes, Karen.
I found that it was very difficult to share and talk about myself. You know, my partner was a little bit surprised because I'm very communicative about work things, but when it comes to sharing about myself, it is an extremely uncomfortable situation.
Yeah. And I want to just go further. Why? Why is it uncomfortable? Yeah.
For me, because you give too much and let too much out there, it comes back to bite you.
Okay. And where does that belief come from? I'm just saying there's something that you're rooting into as an energy, right? That if I give too much, then it's going to come back and bite me. And there's obviously something in the back of the boat, some story. There's story. Right. So there's stories, right? And so what I want, and I really want you to hear what Karen's offering because it's really beautiful right now. Because those stories become our reality. So I asked the question why, and now what I want to ask is the question, what do you want? Do you want it to be hard? Huh?
Don't want any more bites.
Okay, but let's talk it in the way of really what you want, because biting is about other people, right? You know, you're making it about those, right? But what do you want?
To move forward and be positive and be able to share without feeling any intimidation.
So then let me ask you again, because do you see even in the conversation, you're still turning it this way, right? Without feeling any intimidation. And all that intimidation is rooted where? It's in the back of your boat. So what do you really want? I want to be empowered. I want to feel open. I want to give myself greater permission to express. I want to know that my sharing is important to myself and my growth, and I want to be able to still take risks. I want to let go of some of those old stories that are keeping me hiding and keep opening up and knowing that I want to know that I can handle bites. I want to know that I'm so strong that, you know what, the world could bite at me and it's not going to affect me, that I can keep moving forward, right? So there's this sense of like you giving yourself greater permission. And I love that it was hard. Yeah. I like that it was a challenge because that's the work, right? Being in the front of your boat because it's so easy to be here. Because we've already lived that movie. We've already seen that movie. Like, how easy is it to talk about a movie that you haven't seen? It's not as easy as to talk about the movie that you have seen. But what if you're the central character of the movie that you're creating, and so I want you to live into what you want to create rather than just repeating what you've experienced. Because that's just more dynamic, a little harder, but more dynamic. Right? Yeah.
But can I say that the back of the boat, at least for me, is a place you want to revisit because I have wonderful, happy memories of people and a happy childhood and people who have gone that I can remember going back there. So I don't think it should all be viewed as a negative thing.
No, and yeah, really important.
Going back there is not necessarily.
So because I asked this question, is the back of your boat bad at the very beginning of this exercise? What would happen if you didn't have the back of your boat? Your boat would sink. You'd no longer be in the stream.
But from that,
and so,
it looks all negative.
Well,
I don't necessarily think that it is.
And I love that you're bringing this up, right? Because I'm talking about the manifested side of this if you stay there too long. But you're absolutely right. When you're in the back of your boat, now let's do it again. When you're in the back of your boat and you're feeling this, then stay there. But if you're in the back of your boat and it's making you feel upset about your life and defending why you are where you are and not giving you any feeling of possibility, get out of the back of your boat. Because the back of your boat is a glorious place, but it's a place that we overuse. It's a place that we default to, is all I'm saying. I'm just offering that not as a reality that you have to buy into. I'm asking that as a thought that as human beings, we default to the back of the boat. And we live there more than we live in the front of the boat. Giving ourselves permission to ask, what do I want to think? What do I want to feel? What do I want to generate? What kind of quality of life do I want? What do I want? And that's all I'm inviting you to do is to just think about, can I be more front of my boat? Not vilify the back. So I appreciate what you're saying. Yes. I saw a hand. Yes.
I was just thinking about the back of the boat in terms of being in an organization that says this is the way we've always done it.
Yeah.
You know, and because of tradition and because it felt good, because it worked once, you know, then we should stay here you know, rather than think outside the box, rather than move toward the front of the boat.
Yeah. And it's like, how do you honor the tradition? And what I would say is much like the meetings that my husband and I did, one meeting a month, which was for one breakfast meeting a month, we would have a front of the boat discussion. And so what if you did that in your organizations? And this is one of the things that when we come in and we do larger initiatives, we'll encourage people to do front of the boat meetings. And it's just giving you the space to be more front of the boat with each other. And it doesn't mean we're going to get into the how and actually do it. We actually are just in the creativity, because you're right, sometimes we don't even have those discussions because we're so mired in tradition and we're so mired in the back of the boat that we don't ever create the space to just have these kind of front of the boat discussions that could inspire movement. So everybody take a deep breath. So this is not about be in the front of your boat, it's just be in the front of your boat a little more. You know, and it's about being conscious. Am I in the front of my boat right now, or am I in the back of my boat? And I'll tell you, if you're in a place in resistance, if you're in an argument, don't have that argument from the back of your boat. Because if you are, you're just looking at the past and you're using it as ammo to keep yourself in the back of your boat. Right? So the back of your boat, when you're in resistance and it's not feeling good, isn't going to help you to feel better. If you want to create more energy in your life, you got to move to the front of your boat. Right? Everybody take a deep breath. Everyone's like, why is she making us breathe so much? No. Okay, so we're going to keep with the boat analogy, because if I'm standing in my boat, what I want you to do is I want you to think about sometimes, you know, the current of life can get really strong and we can wobble, right? So I have to be able to anchor back into who it is that I'm up to being. So who do I want to be? Who am I being? Who do I want to be? Because you know what's funny is you're being someone right now. We could all go around and say, okay, give me 3 words to describe Mary. And people could come up with 3 words, right? The words are there. They're there. So this is already there. So what I'm asking you to do is to define it in a way that you want it to be. So I'm going to introduce myself to you. And what I want you to do is I want you to put your finger up like this. Okay? So this is a little different than This is where, okay? Because what you're going to do is you're going to point at me. And when I'm done introducing myself to you through my anchor, you're going to yell as loud as you can, yes, you are! Okay? Okay, did you get it? What are you going to say?
Yes, you are.
I'm impressed. I did not think of I will be honest. You just, okay? We can do it even better, but I was impressed with that one. Okay. I thought it was going to, okay, so here we go. So I'm going to introduce myself through my anchor. My name is Susan Leahy, and I am a loving, powerful, committed woman.
Yes, you are.
I love it, right. So the reason that I'm inviting you to come up with this anchor is that the reality is there's moments in my life that I am not a loving, powerful, committed woman, right? And so there are moments when I am frazzled and I'm scared and I'm worried and I'm in my head and I'm doubtful. And so all that's going to come along too. And that's not negative, it's normal. But if I can give myself an anchor in those moments, then I have a better chance of more easily getting back to my center, to getting me back to where it is that I want to stand so I can start making some choices. Am I being group? Am I being team? Am I being in the front of my boat? Am I being in the back of my boat? Am I fixed? Am I open? Am I being curious? So again, now I'm giving myself that permission. So we're going to invite you to find your anchor. Now, first of all, please let's do this exercise in silence, because I do want to create a sacred space around this activity. Because for me, this activity has given me the permission to step more into who it is that I want to be, right? So I want it to just be silent so each person can have their experience. And I also want this to feel good. So if you're trying to search for words and you're like, oh God, I gotta find my words. What if I don't get them right? Or take a deep breath and pull your energy the other way. And be like, what do I want to think? What do I want to feel? Well, you know what? I want to be fun. I want to be vibrant. I want to be healthy. I want to be sassy. I want to be joyful. I want to be present. I want to be authentic. I want to be playful. So it's like, what is it? I'm committed. I'm powerful. I'm joyful. I'm abundant. I'm grateful. I'm happy. What are you? Who are you? Who are you up to being? And this doesn't have to do with work. Please don't be hardworking, because nobody really wants to be hardworking. Ugh. No, don't be hardworking. Okay? And don't allow yourself to find words that inspire you. That I'm passionate, that I'm joyful, that I'm fun. And I want you to allow yourself to just know that this anchor might change. So just because you're writing it down right now, that's okay. It can evolve. I'm loving. I'm open. I'm joyful. I'm energetic. I'm playful. And I want you to take a moment, and I want you to read those words, and I want you to fill it in at the end with man, woman, or whatever designation you want to give yourself. I have no judgment, and nobody else will either. But it is about owning who you are. It was very important for me as a woman to be able to own, I am a woman, right? And just own that femininity for me and the power of that femininity. And happy International Women's Day, by the way. Right? Woo-woo! Yeah. My husband texted that to me this morning, which was beautiful. All right. Okay. So this one, play with that. What does that mean? What is that? Did that light your fire?
Yeah, I don't know. Came to mind.
Okay.
So I can do it, but it wouldn't be my first choice.
Okay, so what would be a first choice? You're considerate, thoughtful, playful, you're relaxed, considerate, relaxed, fairly social. Maybe it sounds like what is it? What did when you're creative? Sounds like you're creative to me, right? Something like that. But anyway, play with the words. They're your words. They're going to evolve. All right. So what we're going to do real quickly in this exercise is we're going to invite you in your table groups. You're going to stand up one at a time, and you're going to introduce yourself to your table group. My name is, and I am a blank, blank man, woman, dude. Whatever comes up for you. And your table group, as loud as they can, are going to say, yes, you are. And I want you to hear this, because the important side of this exercise is what would happen in this culture if we were really cheering for the best of who someone is up to being. Because what happens in group is we're really good at judging the worst of who people show up as. But what if we flipped the script and we really became about cheering for other people and who they're wanting to be? So I invite you to really set this person up for success, because even if that person doesn't show up like that for you right now, get excited that that's the glimmer of who they believe themselves and want themselves to be. Set them up for success to be that, right? So I want you to just get very loud with your cheering and have some fun. So go ahead and start this exercise. It's going to get loud. You're going to go around. Yeah, why don't you do that? I think that might, yeah. Or you know what, I do just want to say that this is a privilege for me to be here, because this is the first time anything like this has happened on your campus, and that was made possible by the vision of several people in this room. And I think that there's something really profound about being the first, and that this can be something that can be built on if more of you grab onto the vision. So I want to say thank you for sharing your time and your energy and your life with me. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Michelle, what color? Peach and melon. So there's, you should have two on your. Yes.
It's for two different parts.
I don't